sighted or have dyslexia, it's really important to read the slides out. So, oh, that's interesting. So I'm going to read some of the slides out. So, yeah, we're about inform, educate, share insights and expertise. We are for a whole raft of different people, from the actual proper technical people through the citizen developers, which is more kind of where I am, and absolutely into just the ordinary business people that don't do the tech, but they need to know how to use tech in order to improve their businesses. We want to engage and encourage users. And we're very keen on developing the next wave of talent, because I'm at the twilight of my career, and Simon will be catching me up soon, won't you, mate?
Yeah.
And Dylan's actually not nearly as far behind as he should be, despite his youthful good looks.
Yeah, you should see the picture in my loft, though.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll talk about that in a moment.
Yeah.
So this is us, but interestingly, this is what we'd look like if we were the younger, handsome, AI-enhanced versions of ourselves, potentially. So I'm going to show you how this came about later, but I've been playing with some interesting toys, which I thought was very interesting. And do you look anything like that on the right, Dylan?
Only on a good day, without my glasses.
Yeah, and I can confirm I never look like that fine chap on the left. But these are genuinely based on us. So and Simon and Dylan didn't know I was going to do this, so they can feel embarrassed now. I'm not going to use your likenesses in any other way tonight.
Okay.
Right, just a couple of links. So we still do Twitter, or whatever it's called this week. X is such a stupid name. Anyway, I mean, it's so bad I'd have thought that Microsoft did the branding. Sorry, Claire. Right, just a quickie. Our next session next month, 17th of October, Tim Bishop is doing a session on the dark art of estimating. Interesting. Dylan, Simon, do you know if that's also using AI?
Are you taking me?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, well, there's a thing that we ought to talk about at some point. Sadly, I can't be here because, did I mention I'm in New Zealand? I'll move right along. A couple of things that I've pulled out of the roadmap, just to let people know. I always pick the things that I'm interested in. There's lots more. Microsoft are introducing some kind of multi-video capability into Teams. So I understand it's really so you can have a headshot video like we're using now, and a projector onto an object or a document on the table video. But I think if they've got that capability, it should start to become possible to have multiple presenters in different locations at the same time in due course. That's my speculation. I have no inside track on that. The new channels experience is rolling out. I'm already using it, but there are some useful, little unexpected, but some useful changes. But the main thing is everything's at the top now instead of at the bottom. So now you've got to remember: are you in WhatsApp or Teams or something else? Because it's all in different places. But it's pretty useful. And I quite like this one, which I only found out about today, which is it's possible to add people to presentations as presenters by sending them an individual presenter link. And it means that they can get in without having to go through the lobby and they have some other advantages. So that's good stuff for people like Simon and Dylan and I, who run these kind of sessions and need to be able to bring our presenters, our guests in more easily.
We will certainly have to start to have to use that, I think.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen how that works yet. It may not actually be. I think this is not launched. I think it's rolling out. So
right, okay.
There's a whole bunch of updates to the 365 apps, what we used to call Microsoft Office for the most part, and they're rolling out as of now. So it'll be a few weeks before they all appear. I think I actually did see a bunch of updates hit my system last week, but then I'm on an early adopter ring. Loop is a big thing right now, and we're seeing lots of incremental additions and enhancements to Loop, but you can now put Planner directly into the Loop dashboard, portal, whatever you want to call that thing, the Loop desktop. So that's good. I like Planner.
Have you guys, has people been using Loop much at all, or?
Well, I haven't managed to get Loop to work on my platform yet, but I probably
still got problems.
Still got problems. I mean, I've had a problem with a few different things. Avatars weren't working before. I've got that working now, but I keep having to contact support for them to sort things out. So I'll get back to it when I get a breather.
I've been using Loop a lot just for, you know, sort of idea creation, especially with the other members of the team.
Yeah,
it's really good. And this one now, where you create a task list in a Loop app, and then it creates a Microsoft plan behind the scenes. You know, it works really, really well. I think it'd be nice to be able to kind of go, I want to use this planner in it, which has been suggested to the Loop team. But yeah, I have to say Loop's really good, and it's quite, you know, something it's quite similar to Confluence, and I've always thought that Confluence had the upper hand, but the Loop app I really do like a lot. Cool. So definitely recommend people spend some time learning it, and we should have a session on it.
We should maybe get that rolled out within the maturity model group as well, then, because that would be a good way of doing dynamic updates.
Yeah, the problem with it is the external sharing is not quite there.
Cross tenant. Okay, right. Yeah. Well, there's an issue. Just people, I don't know if anybody uses Windows Mail and Calendar. I'm sure there are people, but they're going to have to stop because it's going away next year. So there was a session, MVP session, so I can only talk a bit about it. But you know, Microsoft have put it all on notice that the desktop version of Windows Calendar and Mail is becoming Outlook, and I think the implication is that those clients will disappear in their current form and probably become something more web-based, but we'll see. There we go. Right, yes, say goodbye to Sego. I don't know if you've seen this, but Microsoft have moved on to a new font. I don't quite know what's driven it, but the new font is Aptos. And it comes in a bunch of forms. And if it hasn't already hit your copy of Windows, which if you're on Windows 11, it probably has, you can download it and install it, or it'll come out through Windows updates. And this is what it looks like. And this entire presentation, apart from our headings, which are done in our own house motorway style font, these are all done, all the body text is in the new Aptos font. I think it's pretty nice, and it's always nice to refresh things a little bit. So bye-bye, Sego. Hello, Aptos. Right, a few sessions. Actually, Simon, why don't you talk through these? Because I've got a whole talky thing to do in a minute. You do the
sure.
Club Day stuff, etc.
Yeah, so next Wednesday, or Wednesday week, 27th of September, we've got Collab Days at the National Museum of Computing, and all the proceeds that this event raises will go into the National Museum of Computing. And you know, there's a lot of amazing history there, and if you haven't been, it's well worth a visit, regardless of if you're going to come to Collab Days as well. It's just a fantastic place to go, but it'd be a really great day. Some great sessions, great speakers, some good sponsors I hear as well, and yeah, it's a nice bunch. It's not a huge conference, it's a nice size conference, so yeah, we'd love to see you. That's Milton Keynes, and yeah, so we've got that next week. I'll just take control. And then, yeah, this was, I didn't realize that the registration had gone out. So Microsoft Ignite, the registration is open. So if you go to ignite.microsoft.com, there is a in-person, which, you know, you get an extra couple of days. I think it's about $1,500. I think there's a $300 discount at the moment if you want to go over to Seattle. But then there's the online event, you can register for that. So I think that's going to be a really interesting one. I'm hoping, I don't know, but I'm hoping that we hear more about the co-pilots. I imagine we will, but we shall see.
There are 121 co-pilots, apparently.
Yes, I saw
that was an astonishing number.
Yeah, wow. So yeah, so that's a really great session or event to be part of. And then down in Farnborough rather than Southampton this year, we've got South Coast Summit. Again, it's across the weekend. You know, next month. A really good conference. Lots of Dynamics, Power Platform, Microsoft 365. There might be a couple of sessions on AI, I imagine, as well in there too. And there's some workshops as well, which some of the MVPs are running too, if you want to go do. And they do have, it's got a really good feel to it. There's all sorts of things going on in the evening as well, with sort of competitions and things. It's a great event. So if you're able to make that. And then European Collab Summit. Yes, sorry, I was just trying to think. ESP. European Collaboration Summit next year. Again, a really good event. We went this year. It's moving from, it was in Dusseldorf this year now to Wiesbaden.
Nice.
Which is a bit further down, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about another hour on from Dusseldorf. We drove there this year. Yeah, and it was a super easy drive from Rotterdam.
Yeah, it always has a really good Microsoft presence in there as well. So and this year it was really good. There was a very big community sort of concentration. So you had a really good a couple of sessions with Vesa running, and with some of the community efforts kind of showing what was available, so in terms of development experiences as well, with some of the patterns and practices and Microsoft Graph Toolkit. But yeah, it was a good event, and it will be a good one again.
There may be a seat in our car if you need it.
Yeah, we were hoping to get a bit of a convoy, weren't we, to go down? So yeah, we should sort of we'll talk a bit more about that, and if people want to go down, we'll go down
do you
together.
want to come, Claire?
To Germany?
Yeah.
Oh, sounds great. Just need to sort out the children, but other than that, yeah, sounds great.
Right, we're at time, I think now. It's
we are.
Like 7:03. That's not bad going, is it? So Simon, I'm going to hand over to you because you organised this with Claire. So you go for it.
Well, it's quite easy, really. I would very much like to introduce Claire, who's looked after Simon and I and hundreds of other UK-based MVPs for the last some years. I'm not sure how many, but Claire can tell us that. Claire is lovely and supportive, and everything you want in somebody who supports you when you're new and a little bit terrified in the new role that you've found yourself. But more than that, it isn't just about the MVPs. It's about the UK community and possibly even the wider community. The Microsoft community is really important. It's one of the reasons that most of us are here. And I am thrilled and delighted to be able to introduce Claire as our guest speaker for tonight.
Thank you so much. Just one thing, there's no E on the end of my name.
I do that all the time, Claire, and I don't know why I put it on. It's my little finger. I blame my little finger. It just types your ear, and I know it. I've managed to crack the Y, but why the E comes up, I cannot say. I'm going to correct my slides now, but it won't be live.
No, that's fine. Don't worry at all. Can you see my slides?
Yeah.
Fantastic. That's great. Okay. Well, welcome, and thank you so much for inviting me to come along this evening to talk to you about MVP and MVP communities. So there are 3 different communities that we run that I think, or I hope, will be interesting to you. You are very privileged in the fact that you've got 2 MVPs who help run this activity along with everyone else who leads this brilliant group. But for Simon and Simon, as we go through this presentation, please chip in if there are things that you want to add in and comments that you think need to be shared. And if anyone wants to ask me questions during the presentation, just please raise your hand or put the questions in the chat, and then I can answer them. So as Simon said, I'm Claire Smyth without the E and the Y, and I'm Claire with an I. I had a conversation with my mother the other day, and I said to her, why did you call me Claire with an I and Smith with a Y? But if you do need to find me on LinkedIn, I am the one with the Y. I think there's actually more Claire Smith with a Y than I expected, but I'm there. So please reach out and connect with me on LinkedIn. I've also put a link there, which you should be able to use because this presentation is live. If you click on that, that'll take you through to my LinkedIn profile, and then we can just connect that way. I've put in the mvp.microsoft.com website because that is where you will find out more about the MVP communities. And also there is my email address. If you do have questions, you don't get a chance to answer them, or you would rather ask them on an email, please reach out to me. And then at the end of this presentation, I've added in a book time with Claire link, which all the MVPs find quite funny, but it is an opportunity for you to just book out half an hour when it is right for you, for us to have a quick chat around community and also around MVP or RD or student ambassador, which are the 3 areas that I'm going to go through in this presentation. So, as an organisation, Microsoft really has a strong focus in 3 separate areas around community. So we have one which is Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador. So there's something called the MLSAs. And this is for people who are starting out on their technical journey. So it might be that you know of students who are at university, about to join university, who are very interested in our technology. If you have people who really want to share their knowledge around our technology within their university, run events, do community activities, receive some benefits and interaction from us as an organisation, then the Student Ambassador Programme is the right place for them. Again, it's available on mvp.microsoft.com. Those people who are interested can go along and apply to be a student ambassador. But it is very much the beginning of somebody's community journey. We know that there is so much great work that goes on in the technical community from professionals, which we would class as MVPs and regional directors, but we also know that there is such a wealth of knowledge and enthusiasm in the student community as well. And this is our way of being able to offer them the chance, as I say, to get some more resources from us. There's also some benefits around the software that they can receive, but also in return be able to run events and even create user groups like this one within their university environment and ecosystem. So that's a great student-focused activity and program that's available, and anybody can apply to join that program as long as they are at university and studying. My understanding is that you need to be 18 or over to join that program. So it's not for A-level students, it's not for GCSE students, it is for those who are in higher education. We also have the MVP program. So you've heard about MVP, Microsoft Most Valuable Professionals. These are people who have chosen to not only balance out their workday, their family, doing things in their lives that they enjoy, and also giving something back to the community. We have 300 or just under 300 in the UK and Ireland. And as Simon said at the beginning of the call, I'm the person who looks after that cohort of MVPs. They are an amazing group of people who, as I said earlier on, have chosen to give something back to the community. I suspect, and Simon, you can chip in here, that it was the community that helped you at the beginning of your career, or even now as you are working through your career, that you would go to the community for help, advice and guidance. And I think when you then choose to give something back to the community in the form of your expertise, it's a really great thing to do. And the MVP program is designed to recognise the people who have chosen to do that. And we class them as exceptional community contributors. So it is people who are running user groups, large community conferences, they're on forums, they may have social media groups, they're doing a lot on LinkedIn, they're writing books, they're writing articles, they're writing blog posts. So there's a huge amount of activity that this community are doing. We then move on to regional directors. So regional directors are the third element in our community program, and they are people who in many cases are MVPs who have progressed in their careers. They're now at a CXO level themselves. They're speaking about our technology within the CXO community. And that's really where we want to encourage them to be regional directors. For MVP, we offer an award. For regional director, we invite people into the program. It is a really great program to be part of. As I say, it's more the deep technical and the thought leadership side of things that we're looking for from the regional director community. And it is a much smaller community. So there is 207 or 209 across the world. And the reason why I'm looking there is because I actually run the regional director program with my colleague Tina, and we run it globally, so I really should know what that number is, so apologies, but it is around the 207 209 mark. So those are the 3 community programs that are available for people to be part of. I'm just going to stop there. Is there any quick questions around those groups? Do they make sense? Are people aware of them?
Yeah, how many RDs are there in the UK, Claire?
Currently there's about 13 or 14. So it's a small number.
And can we look those up on the MVP site, the same we can with actual MVP? Oh, yeah, I've never done that. I'd be interested to know. Okay.
Yeah, so interesting. It's a great question. So if there's we've got lots of visibility around student ambassadors, who they are, and that's the same with MVPs and regional directors as well. So if you want to find a regional director, you can go in and you can look at the technology areas they focus on. You can look at where they are in the world. So there's a reasonably good search there. Great. So just moving on really quickly. For all of the programs that I've just outlined, you do need to be nominated, and you need to be nominated by somebody from Microsoft or an MVP or an RD. I need to double check with a student ambassador, but I think you can nominate yourself for that particular program. But for MVP and for RD, it is definitely an RD and MVP or a Microsoft full-time employee who will nominate you. You will then ask to share all of your activity so that we can see exactly what it is that you're doing. And then you will be given, I've put it there as a notification, but you will be given notification of whether or not we will be offering the award, or you'll be invited into the program, or whether or not it's just not the right time. So there is a process that MVPs have to go through. And just also, we look at 12 months worth of community activity. So it's a retrospective view of what you've been doing. So we do ask you to put in everything. And then there is a conversation about your motivation around the community and why you actually do all of this great work. Once you're in the program, there are a set of benefits that are available to you, but you do have to add your contributions again every 12 months. And we do the review once every 12 months, which Simon and Simon will both know about. So when you come into the program, that's through a nomination process. As you continue in the program, it is around renewal on an annual basis. There are many different ways to get involved in what we're doing from a community point of view. So you don't have to be an MVP. I know many of you are community participants, and some people are community leaders. From a student perspective, there is the Imagine Cup that's happening this year. We're looking for really vibrant, brilliant students to come forward and put themselves into a team and think about how they can build different applications. And hopefully they will be mentored by MVPs or Microsoft employees. So that's a really good one. Again, you don't need to be student ambassadors, MVPs or RDs to be part of that. It's just a great thing for people to know about. We also have the London Reactor. We have a new reactor, which is a place where people can come together in London, hear about all the great technical sessions, all the great technical advances that are going on. And I know that Simon and Simon, it's a long way to go to do a physical event there, but there is an opportunity for people to come along when in Paddington and visit that reactor. We also have the reactors online. And when I'm talking about the reactors, they are places across the world where people can come together, and usually community groups come together in person. And then we have the reactor online sessions, which are very similar to this. The reactor themselves have their own meetup group, which you may choose to join. But there is some brilliant content on there. And I know there were questions earlier around AI, around security. If it's not happening on this user group, which I'm sure it will be, you can always go on to the reactor link, and there's loads of brilliant recorded sessions and live sessions that you can be part of. We also have a facility for startups. So some of you may be within the startup environment. If this is interesting to you, there's something called the Founders Hub. There's lots of benefits. There's lots of different technical experts that founders and startup founders can speak to. It is a really good place also for startups and founders to come together and have that real community spirit and speak to each other as well. So there is a link in that slide for you to find out more about Founders Hub. And then there was one event that I was quite pleased that you hadn't added into your slide deck, because I'd like to share with everyone. But on the 19th of October, we are going to be running an AI day. Again, it's far away. It's in London, but you may be in the area. If you are, there is a link there to register. It's a free event. Please come along. It's packed full of great speakers and sessions, especially with this focus on AI that you know that we have. So please come along and join that day. And then just, thank you for listening. Thank you for taking the time to understand more about the communities that and community programs we have running. I mentioned at the beginning, please go and look at mvp.microsoft.com to find out more. And if you do want to reach out to me, again, the link is there. Just click on that, book some time, and we can sit down and talk about your community contributions, what it is that you're doing, and whether or not we also have some, community support for you. So that's everything from me. And I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Checking out the MVP community while you were talking.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yes, I thought you might be. Yeah, it's a great site. It's new, actually. We launched it a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
So much more functionality in there and ability to find MVPs and RDs.
And massively quicker, because I've been updating my activities for today. As you were talking, Claire, it's like, yeah, because the other one was tediously slow. That's great.
Thank you so much, Claire. It's brilliant. I think because it's one of those things that, before we kind of got chatting to people like Mark Anderson, really, who's a person who kind of brought us into, the MVP sort of world. Really, it's quite an exclusive club, and it's a bit daunting. And hopefully, we can sort of break down some of those barriers, and people feel like, there's a way of getting there. If that's something that somebody wants to aspire to, and if we can help them do that as well, then even better. So that's what it's got to be all about. Is bring us all up, isn't it? So yeah, it's good.
And I'm really proud to be an MVP. I mean, I go on about it, but it's a real it gives me a real buzz to be able to say that I was nominated and got accepted. So it's a big deal. And as you said quite rightly, it's about giving back to all those things that went before on the shoulders of giants. So.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, any community contributor is giving something back, so you don't have to be an MVP, but the program is a great one to be part of. But there are so many amazing community leaders who are not MVPs who are doing huge amounts of great work in all sorts of different areas. So
yeah, definitely.
Super, Claire. Thank you very much. We'll let you go and enjoy your evening with your family now, and we're gonna, unless you want to stay and see this cool stuff that I'm about to show with video stuff.
I might stay if that's okay. I'll just put myself on mute.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Yeah. I can ask you questions now. Right.
Oh no, please don't. I'm going to put the avatar on. I don't know if you saw the avatar earlier, but I'll stick that back on just so that I can don't have my family members joining.
Cool. Brilliant.
Thank you so much
yeah,
for
okay.
having me.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Right, let me fire up the slide deck again. Hopefully. This is going to be interesting.
Is it the same one?
He's trying to be. Yeah, no, I couldn't share it from there. So you do want to fire it up from your end, Simon, and we'll run that.
And you can take control, can't you?
Should be able to.
Oh, interesting. No, it's not letting me do it
That's
either.
not the one.
Oh, there we go.
Hey, right. Let's see if I can advance
There you
to
go.
slide.
I'll
Oh,
get
thank
into
you. That's the one. Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do this evening, because I don't usually do demos, because I'm not somebody who builds code or applications very much. But tonight I'm going to do a demo. It's something which somebody mentioned to me a couple of months ago about something that they'd done. Oh, that's interesting. And then we ended up exploring how to use this, because I have a small clinical company. We're helping some clients out in Australia, and it's not very easy to work with them. So rather than any of my team trying to stay up in the middle of the night to be able to do remote training of our Australian colleagues, we thought we'd have a go at building some video, and we found that this could be quite useful. So I'm going to show you how to build proper animated videos of, well, we'll see what it's of, and potentially do it entirely or partially using AI. So I'm going to start with, I'm going to start by playing this. See if this works. Now, can you all hear that?
No, it's not running for me. Simon, are you able to take control?
Yeah, let's try that.
You take control. There we go. That's it.
Okay, let me try that again. Is that working for anybody?
Yeah, it's a bit quiet.
I can hear it this round.
It's too. Is it quiet for everyone, or is it just me?
I can't turn the volume up any more from here. No.
I'll tell you what I need to do. I think I need. Sorry, let me restart it. Let me reshare it and then include computer sound and see if that.
Yeah, that's
sorts
what we need.
That helped.
Yeah. And then, right, then you take control and let's see what that does now.
Take control. We're going to run it one more time. Here we go. I'll go from somewhere around there. Right, now it's a bit weird. I'm going to show you some different things, but this was a profile photograph of me with a script that I wrote, and actually I recorded the audio in this case, and the AI platform, which I'm going to show you, animated this slightly odd. I would have chosen a better profile picture if I'd known it's going to come out making me look quite so weird, but it animated this this video of me. So yeah, effectively with a bit of tweaking, I could have done a legitimate, reasonably credible version of me presenting some stuff. What I want to do tonight is show you how we achieved all that. So I'm just going to give you this slide first of all, then I'm going to switch over to sharing my screen. So these are some of the tools and the links that I've used to create the various content. I'm going to focus in this session on the whole end-to-end process of how do I go about creating a script, and do I do that completely manually as I've just done, or do I use increasing levels of AI sophistication for script generation? where do I get my actor from? What if I don't want to have a slightly weird mutated version of me presenting? And then how do I actually animate all that? What we ought to do is actually grab those links and stick them into the chat window. I'll do that very quickly now.
Links are clickable, oddly enough, actually.
They
because you're
are, but
sharing
I'm
it
going to
through
jump
Teams.
off the slide in a moment, which will be less clickable then. Copy link. So these are more or less in order. That one. And one more. Right, so those are the tools that I'm using. And now I'm going to turn the slide deck off, and we're going to go and do some freestyling. Right, let's do this. I think what I need to do is share this screen here. So in a sensible world, I'd probably start in the script generation, but I'm not going to start there. I'm going to start with the actors first of all. I've got a set of tools that I've discovered or have been recommended, which I'm using for. There are other tools, so there's lots and lots of platforms out there that do different things. A lot of them are quite specific at doing particular things. So if I want to create content, for example, if I want to create text content, I will probably use ChatGPT or Bing Chat, and we'll talk about that a bit more later as I start to show you. But for generating the avatars, I've chosen to use this product called Imagine, so imagine.art. It's quite good at creating human, pictures, people. So I use that. There are others. You could probably use DALL-E or whatever, but I've chosen this one. So, but don't feel that you're locked into the one that I'm using is my message here. So I'm going to show you what this thing does. I am going to click on Generate Art on the home page, which gets me to this somewhat uninspiring page. I could literally give it a video, a text prompt, and say create a picture of a Microsoft MVP presenting, and it'll make up something. But I don't want to do that. I actually want to use this second icon, which is the image remix, and I'm going to pull up, if I'm lucky, some images that I pre-prepared. Look, I'm going to do it with this one here for now. That's a picture of me. It's a profile shot that I use regularly. Leave it like that. And then I'm going to give it a prompt. So if you're starting to do any stuff with AI, you'll have come across the phrase prompt engineering. And prompt engineering is really both the process of, as a user, defining what prompt you want to get the output you want, and as a developer, it's actually putting in place some further engineering around that to pass and put some responsible AI to shape the people who are asking reasonable and fair things of the AIs. Right, so let's go and give the image of me a modifier command. I'm going to show you the stuff in a minute, but let's just imagine we don't want a pure Simon. Let's imagine we want to make this a little bit more inclusive. So I'm going to give this a prompt of imagine a Middle Eastern professional man with glasses wearing traditional garb. And I'm going to use it against this picture here. So that's my prompt. There are, with this particular tool, some things that I can do. I'm using the free version at the moment. At some point, I'll run out of credits. We'll have to actually pay for it, but I'm using the free one because I'm in Yorkshire and we have to guard our money. There are some styles which I'm not going to use. I can't turn on high resolution because I haven't paid for it. I'm going to change that to Open Pose. That's just the rendering engine that it's going to use. If there are features in the image that I don't want, so I have some pictures of me, for example, with a beard back in the day. And if I wanted to remove that, I could say beard, and it would remove the beard. And then these are the two critical ones. Image strength is how much like the source image do I want it to be? So I don't know, I'll guess and set this to 68%. And how much like the prompt do I want it to be? And I'm going to go with 9, I think. I've literally never done this before, so we don't know what the result's going to be. I mean, I've done it with some other stuff, but not this particular image. So let's see what it generates. When I was playing around with this earlier today, it was super quick, but then because I was playing around with it, it used up all of my credits. So there you go. It's created a slightly fatter version of me if I had been born in foreign parts, even further away than Essex.
But you mean tie and suit as well.
I think it's really interesting. I've played with this a lot, and it actually looks at what you're wearing and does an interesting job of it. So I wear roll neck jumpers all the time, and so it's created a variant on a roll neck jumper, but in a suit and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of very interesting, I think. When I was setting all this up earlier, I used a different profile picture of me. In fact, I'll show you. Let me do it like this. You run it early with that picture. You can see it's quite a low resolution picture in that case. Did exactly the same prompt, but some slightly different, just very slightly different parameters on the be like the image, and it generated that version of me. Which I think, but and say this is not using the full paid for make it photo real. This is, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. And it's the same tool that I used on those intro slides to show Simon, Dylan, and I as our younger, more handsome selves, if AI had anything to do with it. So there we go. So I've created my avatar. I could run it a few more times. I could tweak the settings to make it more or less like me, or more or less like the prompt. Or I could start to modify the prompt and give it other things. It could be wearing a hat, or whatever you want it to be. So there you go. I have created an image, and I can then go and download that image and use it. So let's. I'm not going to run with this one. Maybe I always run with this one. Why don't I go with this one rather than the one that I generated earlier? There we go. I've just done a save on that. So I've downloaded that image. So there's my avatar, my actor that I've I'll call him actor that I've chosen to use. So that's the Imagine Art platform. I'm going to come back to that. I'll show you some other things that I have done. So now we're going to move on to the next part of it, which is this thing called DID. You can see there's two that I created earlier. The one that you saw in the intro PowerPoint, and one that I pushed out on social media this afternoon, welcoming people to this tonight's session. But we want to create a new one. So I'm going to do create video. Here's the image you saw earlier. I'm going to go and add that new additional version of me that we just saw as a presenter or an actor. It will even do full AI generation of presenters in here for you if you wish, but that's a premium feature. And I haven't turned that on right now. So there's the one that you just saw me generate. Close those down. Right. What it needs now is a script. So why don't we go and create a script? Because it needs a script in order to animate this. The slightly odd intro video that I showed you, I had actually recorded the audio for that. So in that case, I used this upload voice audio. I just used Windows Recorder, uploaded the script that I had created, and I dictated it, and it had a few ums and ahs in it. But in that case, that was genuinely using my voice. But this time I'm going to do it without my voice because, I probably don't talk like this handsome fellow either. So let's go and see what we can do about creating voices. Oops, don't click on that button, Simon. Never know how to get rid of the sharing dialog from the top of the screen. So now I'm going to jump into ChatGPT. I'm going to use version. Oh, you can't use version 4 without paying for it now. That's tedious. Right. So I pre-prepared a script. I've done prompt engineering, decided what I want. So this is my prompt. Create a video a script for a video actor that lasts about 2 minutes and describes what somebody blah blah blah. So basically, I'm saying go and create me a description of an MVP, since that's what we've been talking about, and I'm going to let ChatGPT do that. That's interesting. So I haven't done this particular test before. This has actually created a full interactive video with a host and a guest. I'm going to try and run that again to see what the result would be like if I did it in. Get rid of that. If I was to do it in Bing Chat. I rarely go into ChatGPT these days. I tend to use Bing instead because it's good and it's immediate and it's built into Edge. So we'll run it again from here. That's interesting. So it's going to have very similar style in Bing because Bing Chat uses exactly the same underlying engine as ChatGPT because ChatGPT runs on Azure. So it's churning out a script for me, which I may or may not use. That's interesting. In the mobile version of this, you actually get the option to toggle between ChatGPT 3 and ChatGPT 4, and I don't see that option in the browser. Right, so this is going to be less elegant than I had intended, but you know, we'll manage. Let me just go and going to go and grab some of this text, and we're going to paste it in over here. I won't do the whole thing because it'll take longer for no particular value, but you'll get the idea. Just take it like this. And clean this up because I've pasted all the stuff in there. I think that'll do. We'll get the idea. Do that. Right, a couple of further bits to do. I'm going to put some active pauses in. Before I do that, I need to choose a speaker style. So if it was me, if it was really me, I'd choose English, and I might well choose, I don't know, Noah or something, and then I can preview. Can you hear that, or do I need to do original sound?
Yeah, I can't hear that. Right,
let's see how I bring the original sound up. There really ought to be an easier way of doing the native sound. If anyone remembers how to do it quicker than me, please let me know. Oh, hang on, I can probably turn that off. That might help. Simon, when you turn,
so if you click on share and then you've got a little toggle at the top which says include computer sound.
Right, let me do that. There it is.
That.
Yeah, that's the way you do it. Yeah, we ought to be able to turn that on in the meeting, but anyway. Right, so I can preview what the voice sounds.
Hello, tech enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into the world of.
Right, so that's what that voice is going to sound like. Whether that's appropriate for this individual, I don't know. What's interesting, though, is you've got lots of other variations. So I could pick this version.
Hello, tech enthusiasts. Today, we are diving into
Probably
the world
wrong
of
gender in this particular case, but you get the idea.
Chosen that.
Practice with a Kiwi. You're going to New Zealand.
I've already done some with a New Zealand accent, so yeah.
Hello, tech enthusiasts.
Okay, I'm not gonna push it too far.
Hello.
Oh, I know what I'm doing. I know what it's. There we go.
Hello, tech enthusiast.
That'll do. That'll do. It also will do other languages, so it'll do native translations. If I was to go and choose that, for example.
Hello, tech enthusiasts.
Okay.
Today, we're diving into the world
figure out
of...
which one it is, but it'll actually do translations as well. But I'm going to run with that. So look, I'm going to run it. But the last thing I want to do is just want to put in some manual pauses. So I'm just going to go and find some natural breaks in the dialogue and set that to go. There's some other clever things it'll do. It'll actually extend your text using AI. So it's using a ChatGPT under the hood or something like it as well to be able to do the whole thing. But let's just go and generate that. It's just checking to see if I've got enough credits to push this out. Ooh, I'm going to run out. Hey, hey. Turn it on. And now we wait, but not for very long. Obviously, the longer your script, the longer you've got to wait. But this one will generate pretty quickly. The point here, and this is key, is having set this up, chosen my, created my actor, chosen what he or she looks like and sounds like, it's then really, really quick to generate new video whenever I want it. So I could, have half a dozen different versions of this same script done by different actors in different languages and distribute them across my my multinational company to different countries so that they can interact with this video in an appropriate, with an appropriate actor in an appropriate language. Or I could update this script every week with, for example, business updates or the latest state of the market, or so it's very dynamic. Unlike trying to bring a film crew in to do a professional video in a quiet room with a producer and a cameraman and then all the post editing, the ability to turn around new versions of a video is a matter of 5 to 10 minutes as opposed to some days. And I think that's really potent. Even if it's not quite real, it's really potent. So let's see, it's created the video. I'm going to go and run it.
Hello, tech enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into the world of Microsoft Maps. Ever wondered what it takes to become one and what they actually do? Well, you're in the right place. I'm your host, your name, and in the next 2 minutes, we'll explore the fascinating world of Microsoft Maps.
Right, I'm not going to keep going.
First things first. What is a Microsoft Map?
So first of all, there's some faults. I forgot to update the text to replace name with, Simon or whatever it would be. And also you can see it's mispronounced MVP. I'd have to find a way to be able to get it to pronounce those letters one at a time. So there's an important piece there, which is something that's true of all AI interactions, which is check what you've done, then test it, and then, go through that, plan, do, act, revise loop to get it more right. But that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. And while I can see that this chap is not a real person, it's good enough that it could be convincingly deployed within an environment and people would engage with it. Well, why does that matter? Well, some people, especially the older folks like Dylan and I, we were brought up in a world where there was no such thing as video, and we read really quickly and absorb stuff from written word really well. but increasingly we're the exception. The cliche is that the millennial generation get all of their content from videos, and I think that there's some truth in that. Younger folk engage with video in a way that older folk don't, and they absorb information really powerfully from it. So that's one good reason. The second, and this literally came up this afternoon in the Microsoft 365 Maturity Model Practitioner session that we did, which is 1 in 12 people have dyslexia. They really struggle to extract meaning from written words, but they don't struggle to extract that and remember it from video. So, something like around 10% of your staff or 10% of your colleagues and friends and customers don't respond well or easily to written word. This is a great way of taking written word and turning it into something that they can easily absorb information from. And there's also, because I was a teacher once upon a time, and there's some really good science around, good research and science around this, is if you deliver things in a multimodal way, so not just written word, but written plus audio plus visual prompts, the ability to understand and retain goes up substantially. It's multiple orders more powerful. So there are really good reasons for wanting to provide at least the opportunity for people to absorb information from some kind of video interaction. And the conversation that Simon D and I have had is, what if I was running an intranet? Have I still got that up on my screen? No, I think I shut it down. I've got on my my clinical company site, I've got a whole bunch around governance, privacy and data protection, loads and loads of stuff which any company really has got to train their staff on. And so the idea is we would type out the formal, this is what GDPR is, and then we'd grab the text from that, push it through Bing Chat and say, turn this into a script for a video actor. It would churn out a script. I would then run up the video like this, export the video, and embed the video in the same page as the rest of the GDPR information or training. And we could do that at scale. We could be turning out these kinds of video versions of content that we've already got in minutes rather than days. So I think there's real potency there. I won't go on about it too much, but there's a whole bunch of really interesting data on how, if you make stuff more accessible, you improve retention and a whole bunch of other things. And with that in mind, I'm just going to grab this link to a study by Accenture, which talks about the value of accessibility, the full-blown accessibility, and how that improves your commercial capability. So that is in there now. Right, so I've done that. I think I've shown you a few examples. I'm just going to have a bit of a sidestep into governance. So we wrote a maturity model component called cognitive business. Simon, it'd be cool actually if you could find the link to that and throw that in, because I forgot to do so.
Of course I can. Yeah. No
so the cognitive business competency talks about how you use AI in your organization. It's clearly relevant to what we're doing in the session today. But one of the things that does talk about a lot is, well, how do you make sure you've got some governance around this? And there's a few principles that we talk about. One is declaring that something is an AI, so that it's clear to people that there is AI generated content in there. And again, the very first session, the very first video I showed you, the AI declared it was an AI as the very first thing it said. So I think that's kind of important. The other thing which we recommend you do is you build your own tools for tracking the AI use that you've got. And partly it's a governance issue, partly it's if I want to reproduce the same sort of thing next time, what are my inputs and settings? Because you won't remember them. So I the first thing this morning, built myself a Microsoft list because I like lists, and it's got a bunch of standard fields that I've created that talks about what's it about, how did I generate my script, and what tools did I use, how did I generate my actor, what were my inputs, settings, and what output did it generate, and how did I create my video. And so I've got a few of those in here. And I'm going to just take you through all the ones that I actually created so you get a sense of what I really did. This is the first one I showed you. I wrote the script, so they're exactly the same. I took this profile picture of me and I didn't modify it, so that's all not applicables. I used DID, and actually that is no longer in draft. I should really have changed that. That one is now deployed. Right, so let's see what else, what other fun I had. You saw this earlier, my input picture and my output picture of the one that I didn't do live, but this is in case it all went wonky and I had to rebuild anything. That was my input script. I haven't captured the output script. There's my input prompt for the image and so forth. I should probably change that to deployed now because we did it. If I had a little more time, I was going to actually show you how to create a governance training piece, the kind of thing I just described to you, where I was going to grab, or have grabbed, a bunch of text off the government. This is information protection, or this is GDPR, and convert that into a script and have this model talk, generate it for you. So I use me again as my input, but my actor prompt was imagine a photorealistic, friendly, middle-aged professional woman of Oriental descent in business attire. My settings were those, about 50% based on the image I gave it, and about, if you want to do it in percentage terms, about 2/3 accurate to the prompt. So let's have a look at what she looks like. So this was me originally, but this is me modified with that prompt. Bless you. And again, quite a credible response. To your point, Karen, look at how it's done her blouse or jumper or neckline, whatever that item of clothing is that she's wearing. But again, quite credible, and actually more attractive than me. Anyway, that's a different conversation. So I could, if I had time, go and generate a video off that, and I was going to do that just by literally generating the script live off the government GDPR website, but I'm going to, for reasons of time, I'm going to skip that. And then I thought I'd get cheeky and do my wife. So this is my beautiful wife. It's a low resolution picture, and I gave it imagine a friendly, determined company chief executive in the style of a character from the film Oppenheimer, who needs to deliver a hopeful yet challenging briefing to staff on the company structure in response to climate change. That was my prompt. So quite a detailed prompt. Quite accurate to the image, and only midway really on the prompt. And this is what was generated, which I think is a pretty good. It's like, she looks professional. She kind of got the same hairstyle as my wife and many other interesting features. A little bit more masculine looking than my wife. And when I was playing with this, a lot of the time it was generating women with some stubble. So there's some intrinsic bias in this, because when you say create a company executive, it's creating an unreasonable number of men.
It's affecting reality.
Yes, it is. So it comes down to where the data set is, but these are the reasons you've got to check your AI and make sure it's doing the things you want, and understand the intrinsic bias in the bias inherent in the system, because unfortunately there are far too many male role models and not enough female role models, especially from this era. So cautionary tale there, but hell, if this was my CEO, I'd be listening to her, because she probably terrifies me, to be honest, as good CEOs sometimes need to do. And I'm not going to run this up into a video right now. We'll do one last one if I've got time before I need to run. But I thought that was interesting. So that was me showing you creating an actor from me, arguably a man, turned into a female presenter, or taking my beautiful wife and turning her into a sort of a 1940s typified woman. And yeah, that was the one that I put out on social media today. So, shall we do one more? Who would you like? Do you want to animate the female version of me, or the 1940s version of my wife? What's the vote here?
She's done a poll. 1940s. Chris, I think. That's my vote.
Anyone want to strongly support or deny? Otherwise, I'm just going to go with it.
40s.
Okay, done. Right, good enough. So let me close out my thing there. I'm going to have to do a pretty short bit of text because I'm going to run out of credits. But I have, in anticipation, preloaded. Oh, I'll show you this as well. Actually, I did another version of that same professional lady. One a little older than the other, and the only real difference there was I changed the degree to which it respected the prompt as opposed to the source image. Right, so let's do my wife, and let's see if I've got any appropriate text. What was I actually going to do here? My script was this. Actually, I'll do the third and final way of this. So let's just pull up Bing Chat in the Bing sidebar in Edge, because this is the one that I use the most. I barely touch any other kind of search engine today. The first thing I do is go to Bing Chat because it gives me better, more rapid, more comprehensive, referenceable solutions than doing a Google or Bing search. And there's my script. Let's see what it comes up with. Okay, I'm going to run that again and see what it does. Sometimes the responsible AI filters, so the engineered prompt engineering on the front, will throw out some of your requests if it considers it is in danger of doing something inappropriate. Okay, see, last week when I ran this, that same script wasn't building the script in the same way as it is now. It wasn't doing the pan and zoom photo angles that the director would choose, and it wasn't doing this is the host bit, this is what the cameraman's meant to do. But you get the idea. What I've also experimented with is taking a document and saying, turn this document into a script. And there are ways of doing that as well. And there's something more to tell you about that in due course. Right. So there you go. It's done a script for me. If I had more time, I would whiz through this and tidy it all up. I'm just going to be really quick, and we'll live with the consequences. So I'll grab that text, close the Bing sidebar, stick that in there, do a quick bit of tidying up. And I'll cut it short there for reasons of time and credit. Let me put United Kingdom. Do that. Stick a couple of those in there. Quick test.
Good morning, everyone. I hope this message. Good morning, everyone.
That sounds better.
I hope this message finds you well.
And I could, if I wanted to, extend it using the magic wand option. No idea what that's going to do. Okay, doing some stuff. I suspect that's going to run over my remaining credit, but let's give it a go and see what happens.
Yeah.
Ooh, take it. Oh no, it needs 6. I've only got 4. Right, so done. Let's get rid of that and that and see if that goes any better. Hey. Yeah, exactly. Right, we'll generate it. And you can do other really cool things with this. I mean, I've chosen to make these photorealistic, but you can give it a video prompt such as, create a business professional in the style of a Pixar animation, or in the style of a DALL-E picture, or anything that you can imagine, any kind of stylistic thing you can use to modify your actors. So if you don't want it to look like a real person, you want to go, look, this is the kind of company where you might have a talking duck as your figurehead. And you're suddenly in a Black Mirror episode instead, then that's what you can do. So anyway, let's have a look at how this has turned out.
Good morning, everyone. I hope this message finds you well. Today, I want to talk about an important topic that affects us all: climate change. As you know, M365 North Limited has always been committed to sustainability and environmental responsibility. We believe it's our duty to take action and lead by example. In response to the urgent need for climate action, we have made some significant changes to our company structure and strategy. These changes are designed to ensure that we not only survive but thrive in a rapidly changing world.
There you go. I will come on, Brian. I'm going to put the link to it. There you go, in the chat. So if you want to go and have a giggle at that at your leisure, you most certainly can. So just going to recap what I've done. I have used either my own creative abilities and/or Bing Chat, ChatGPT, or some other engine of your choice to create scripts for the actors to use. I have created my own range of actors, and I can have multiple ones of those. I've only done it once in here. I've actually got in my other browser, I've got a whole stack of different actors that I've used. I have then used another platform to animate those talking heads and turn those into rapidly deployable, downloadable, shareable videos with or without automatically generated voice, or with voices that I or somebody has recorded. So all of those are possible, and you can see it can be done surprisingly quickly. In 40 minutes or something, we've done that. We've done potentially several. Downside is there's some costs. But it's not scary when you look at the cost of doing actual, proper, even semi-professional video. This is of the order. You could have a year's worth of this for the cost of one 5-minute video done professionally. So it's pretty interesting stuff. And then just to reiterate the other point, which is that I have put in place some tools to let me capture what it was I've done, so I can, either manage the process or repeat the process. And particularly if, for example, I'm the comms department and I want to go and turn out another video next week and one week after, I've got all my settings, I've got all the scripts I've used, I can know which actors I can, reuse, etc., etc. I could have taken a good head and shoulders shot of our proper CEO, and I could be delivering CEO briefings to the staff on a regular basis without the problem of actually trying to get the CEO into a room for an hour. So those things are potentially quite valuable. And if I'd had time, I'd have shown you embedding some of this video in a live SharePoint web page using web parts alongside with video or streaming alongside text and other components. So I think it's useful. Some of the same technology can be used to create things like interactive agents. It can be used for creating much longer video sessions. The one thing you can't easily do right now is automate the end-to-end process. You can see that I have orchestrated each of the individual bits. However, the observant amongst you may have noticed that DID, for example, has a set of APIs. So even with this best of breed technology, it would be possible for the clever people amongst us, like Simon and Dylan, to write scripts and interfaces that would let a comms person or somebody, a training manager or whoever it is, HR person wanting to put out a video brief to potential recruits, etc., 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 to just ask them some, create a Microsoft form, get them to fill in the requirements, some of the core text, the prompts that they want to use, and fully automate that using best of breed tools. Wouldn't it be nice if there was a Microsoft service that did that? And that's all I'm going to say about that particular topic.
Well, what would be cool, I'm just looking at the API, well, I'm trying to register, but yeah, there's a Power Platform custom connector. So from Power Apps, you could create your videos. That would be pretty awesome. Yeah.
And the other thing which I'm interested in, because I really don't watch many videos, it's too slow for me most of the time. I would want to be able to extract the audio from this as well. So I would take away the video part for mine and also create a podcast or audio only version, which I can listen to in the car or whatever. And this is something that I pitched to a bunch of clients 7-8 years ago while I was still at Cloud 2. And at that time, that technology was absolutely in its infancy. Today, it's a shoo-in. It's super easy to create video, audio, and text-based content and create a true multimodal experience. Are there any questions?
No, I think it's interesting the different tools you could use to create the avatars. Did you try any others? Or?
I have used DALL-E quite a lot. DALL-E tends to be a little bit more creative than I would like, and it would fill in all sorts of interesting background details as opposed to focusing on the headshots. But you can definitely do that. There is, I forget the name of it. Hang on. See if I've still got it in my my workshop. No, I can't remember. There are other tools. There are a couple of tools around which will just take your profile picture and enhance it. So if you want the genuinely better looking version of you, there's some ethical debate about whether that's the right thing to do or not. But there are sort of automated touch-up applications and no end of other tools, platforms online which you can use for this. And the trick is to find one that gives you the tools you want at the price you want, and knock yourself out until such time as Microsoft has that embedded in their platform, perhaps.
One tool I was thinking of that I've seen is, the deep faking of voices. Have you found any of those tools?
I am very aware of those. In fact, this create video, this upload voice audio, I thought that maybe would let you do that. It appears that it at the moment, but I have. I saw a demonstration at the opening of the data AI and modelling facility at the University of Hull when I was there for their opening last month, and they were doing a demonstration. They were literally taking they took a photograph of the Vice Chancellor, got him to speak into the microphone for 10 seconds, and then replaced a Jackie Chan video of Jackie Chan talking, not fighting, but talking, with the Chancellor, Vice Chancellor's image and his voice. And that whole thing took 7 minutes. Because it turns out that mostly what makes us sound like the way we sound is not our accent or our pitch, it's our phrasing. And the AI is pretty good at picking up the phrasing, where you choose to pause and slur and those kind of things makes us sound the way we do. And it gets the pitch approximately right, but if the phrasing is spot on or pretty close, sounds like you. So yes, I have. And that could be automated as well.
Yeah, I was just thinking that we've got a customer that needs to create some training material for a product, and I looked at some of the preview videos and they are pretty wooden, and you could actually use this to create a lot of that content. And to be honest, the AI would probably be less wooden than some of the people that are standing there with on camera. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think the AI doesn't make mistakes. I mean, you can tell when somebody's not a proper actor. I mean, they're just terrible at it most of the time, or they're informal like we are on this kind of a session. But they're not that professional presenter, video trainer kind of a person. So yeah, I think that these are quite credible. We have played with this with our Australian partners, and we originally sent them a version of my COO doing the voiceover, but then gave him an Australian accent. And the Australian clients pushed back and went, no, just make him be English, because they actually quite like. He's a really good looking chap. Helps. I didn't have to fake the way he looked because he looks nice. Damn it. So yeah, I think there's lots of, and that was well received. And so we're going to do all of our training videos using this kind of technology for them. In that case, we're going to use. Actually, no, we're not. We haven't used the deepfake voice stuff. We've just used one of the out of the box voices because I don't know what Ben sounds like. But we have used Avatar, which is very like Ben. Yeah,
that's cool.
So it's just the orchestration piece which is missing, which is capture the input from the end users, run it through the various platforms, capture the output, and wouldn't it be good if that can just spit back a bunch of assets that you can use? So it's got the script, it's got the original text, it's got the images, it's got the video, and you've got the whole package there ready to deploy, online on an intranet or wherever it needs to be done.
Yeah, I mean the APIs have got all the bits there. There's creating talks and creating content and. Interesting. And you've got different text-to-speech providers. So you've got Azure ones, you've got Amazon ones. Yeah, there's all sorts. So I think there's probably a lot more you can kind of play around with, under the hood.
Yeah, I mean, I've spoken to some, because this is proof of concept stuff for me. I've talked to some potential clients in various markets, and no one's given me any pushback yet. I mean, the proof of the pudding would be whether end users, just ordinary staff, push back. But so far, the signs are pretty good that people are all right with it.
Yeah. I'll have to try it out.
Yeah. Right. I'm going to stop sharing. Have a play. Let me know how you get on, because I think it's neat technology.
Very cool.
Right, and with that, I'm afraid, as my doppelganger said at the beginning, I am meant to be at this moment in time on a squash court playing the last match of the season. So I'm going to bid you farewell, make my excuses, and run for it. So lovely to see everybody. Thanks for coming. Simon, Dylan, I'll leave our attendees in your capable hands. I won't be here next month, for reasons I may have mentioned once or twice, but I'll see you all in November, if not before.
Cool.
Thanks,
Simon.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers all. enjoy the squash.
Yeah,
Right.
hope you win. Good luck.
Thank you.
Right. So, well, should we close the night unless there's, you know, interested what people think actually? Would people use that stuff? Is that, think it's interesting, or do you think it's just, yeah, too, I don't know, too toy-like? I don't know.
I'm thinking of we get a weekly email bulletin from our CEO, and I'm thinking of taking that and messing with it and sending it back to him and saying, would you like to send it out like this to the people that can't read well?
Yeah.
And see what it says.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Package it up as a SharePoint web part, and you know, there you go, couldn't you? You know,
Yeah, maybe not.
See, if you combine that with machine translation, you could effectively and automate it. You
But
could
it sends it out in
essentially,
English and German and French actually, so that would be really interesting.
yeah. Although there's, you know, machine translation's imperfect, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very much so. Yeah, my research is English, to be honest. So.
Fantastic. It's weird, isn't it? Because people have become millionaires on content creation, and now content creation is something that can be done by machines. So.
Yeah, it's becoming valueless almost, isn't it?
No, I mean these people at the top of the game in YouTube will still be millionaires, but
yeah, there's going to be, I guess everyone's game will be pushed up, but the people will keep pushing up even further. You know, there's definitely something to be said about the people who are, you know, really good at it, able to just grab someone's attention and you know, take them out of whatever it is they're doing to be sucked into whatever content they're trying to push as well. You know, it's definitely still a skill. Yeah, it's just really cool.
It's just amazing how profoundly it affects you. It's like I've been doing a slide deck in the background because I've got a presentation tomorrow, and it's like I no longer use clip art for slide decks. It's like Bing Image Create all the way, and every single slide has a perfect image for it.
Yeah, we're using a lot. I'm using Midjourney a lot. I was just and someone had been recommending Playground AI.
I've seen that. Yeah. Thing is, Bing Image Create usually is good enough most of the time, which is, you know, good enough, as it were.
Yeah, a friend of mine who's an Alexander Technique instructor down in London, he started using AI images for all his stuff that he puts out, and they're all very sort of watercolory, but they look quite good. Some of them are a bit strange, but yeah, so it works quite well. But yeah, I think this what Simon just showed there, it's just people getting used to these avatars and things, isn't it? It still feels a bit strange watching something that's you know, not real, you know, and it is artificially generated. I guess it's just people just need to get more used to that, I guess.
Yeah, it's the mouth movement which is a bit odd to me. But I don't know if that's because it's lagging or something like that. I don't know.
It's like watching a glove puppet do you, isn't it?
It's a bit I'm sure they'll get better at it, or they'll get you to create multiple images and, you know, maybe get you to move around a bit like you do when you do Face ID on Apple or Android or whatever, so they can generate better imagery.
iPhones are taking 3D pictures now, aren't they? So that would offer the potential to do something like that, because it's going to have a model of the face that it can tilt around rather than just trying to interpolate it. It's the fact the rest of Simon didn't move was the giveaway.
Yeah. I think that's it, isn't it? They'll get better, won't they? If you've got the eyes moving and you know, but the API has weird, you know, can sort of say, you know, the person's happy, they're you know, serious, they're, you know, so all these settings which you can apply to the face.
In my old job, people would often say, "Oh, can you do a video about it?" And you'd be like, "Oh, crikey, do I have to?" kind of thing. But yeah, you know, not everybody likes to just read a load of stuff, do they? And also, people don't just like to listen to audio. They seem to want to be able to see something. So I can see that being really, really good for people who want that.
Yeah, but then there's this rule, isn't it? It's the 3-second rule, that when you do video, you need to cut every 3 seconds to something different. So I think if it was just that one thing, it'd get boring. So you need to be able to kind of flip in something else, or get them looking in different direction, or have some different background, just something which you can.
That's why that script was generated with prompts for different screenshots during the talking.
Yeah.
You could just have some max headroom type interference every so often.
It's very hated.
just to kind of keep people's attention.
Yeah. Right. Oh, that's really cool. That'd be a great community demo to build something, Teams, Teams app which had it in or something.
It seems avatars have very limited movement at the moment. I created one in a team meeting here. One day we were all messing about with one of our internal calls, and then as soon as we generated them, we realised they didn't actually reflect your movements at all. You had to manually animate them, which is just like that's just rubbish in Teams.
Yeah.
So you might as well just have a still picture of yourself, really, for what an avatar really brings.
Yeah. I wonder if that's what they will look to do, that it sort of tracks your head. But then I guess it means then you've got to be really, you can't do other things while your avatars. Maybe you can put your avatar in like autopilot mode, so it just kind of nods.
It's a toggle button, right, that says reflect my actions or don't reflect my actions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
It's that thing, isn't it? Like in my old job, they had this suit, like a marketing had this character they developed called Blue, and they've got a suit made with a head and everything, and people from marketing would stand in the front of the college dressed in this suit, and it was really, even though I knew who was in the suit, it was it had a head and everything, like the sort of thing they have at Disney World. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't have a conversation with this person in a suit. It was just freaking me out. Even though I knew who he was, and it's like, please take the head off. I can't handle this. So I think that's the problem with avatars, isn't it? It's a similar thing. It's like, I'd actually like to see the real you. But yeah.
But again, it might just be something you get used to. The more it's around.
Yeah.
I haven't tried them out because I've moved to the new Teams client, so it's only just got the avatar stuff in, hasn't it? So let's try it out.
Yeah, I think
broke a whole load of stuff. All the
it's just getting used to it all, isn't it? Just like this, when the silent movies became suddenly had talking in them. And I think people struggled with that, didn't they, initially?
Yeah. Sorry, Dylan, what you say?
I was going to say, I've persisted with the new Teams client, and it's actually quite annoying because it's broken a whole load of stuff that did work, like the Stream Deck integration and things like that.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. See, I don't have that kind of stuff. My biggest bugbear, which it didn't do it this afternoon, so maybe it's fixed, but is that if you are typing a message, let's say you're going to go away, you want to copy and paste a link into that message, you'd copy and paste your link from another window, go back to the message, and it'd wipe the message out.
That's annoying.
That's so annoying, especially when you spent ages writing.
It used to do that.
Yeah. So I have reported it, and it possibly has been fixed, because it didn't do it to me this afternoon, but it did it to me yesterday. So yeah.
Copying out of Teams has always been a mess as well, isn't it? Because it gives you a whole load of extra stuff whether you want it or not.
All the blooming chat metadata, doesn't it? Yeah, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Go on. I had to set up a new team using a chat that had turned into more than needing just a chat. It needs to be a whole team. So I decided to take the chat and paste it in, because you can't create a team from a chat yet. And it was, when I pasted it in, it wouldn't paste. I can select all of it, but it only pasted a bit of it. I didn't realise to start off with. This chat was probably, I don't know, several page scrolls deep.
Oh, no.
Copying it all and trying to paste it into a post in the new team it just wouldn't all paste in at once. It was just really frustrating. Just allow us to turn a chat into a team, please, would be good. There's loads of requests for it, but they're not doing it.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, I can see the value in that. Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if that will change. I wonder if it's just prioritization.
Probably.
Yeah. It's good. Do you just while we're chatting, do you guys use any cloud-based HR systems at all within your organizations? Do you use like anything like Rippling or Workdays or SAP Success Factors or anything?
Yeah, we use Success Factors.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Bright HR is pretty good for an SME.
Right HR. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty popular as far as we're concerned. And if you really want to behave like the big boys, you could go down the road of Dynamics HR, but that's not to be undertaken lightly unless you're really big.
But they're folding that under. That's getting moved into, is it operations, finance?
It's part of, it's been subsumed back into the platform, but effectively it's a separate module and you can purchase it separately, even though effectively you've got to get the rest of Dynamics. What used to be called finance and operations, now they call it finance and supply chain. It's horrible naming.
Okay, interesting. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Right, well, I'm going to have to jump off. It's my son's birthday tomorrow, so I need to prep for that. But yeah.
Well, we'll see you next time when we've got Tim talking about estimation.
17th of October. That should be really good. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah, we can challenge him with some estimates because it's probably one of the hardest things ever, estimation.
Yeah. I think it'll be really good. Everyone struggles with it, so yeah. All right.
Thanks
nice to
everyone.
See you all. Great to see you again, Karen.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks for, and we'll see you all soon. Cheers. Take care. Bye.
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 Bye. Thanks, Stuart.